Good morning, everyone. It's March 6, 2019. Slavery wasn't really abolished, and this is how you are a slave. A home. Instead of paying rent, I'll charge you thousands each year for the privilege, even after your home is paid off. Capital gains tax. So you want to take some of your income to invest. Great. You take all the risk, and if you make money, I'll tax you another 20 to 50% on your gains. If you lose, you can only deduct $3,000 per year. Inheritance tax. You worked hard and saved and built up assets you want to leave to your family. The problem is you died with too much. We will take a portion of what you left as well. Now, do you see how you're a slave to the government? This also shows what a slave to the government the people are. What about the trillions and trillions of dollars that keeps on getting stolen from the American people? I mean, the last time this kind of money went missing, we had a false flag attack on the very buildings that housed all the evidence of wrongdoing. I wonder if that's a coincidence. So, over a mere 2 decades, the Pentagon has lost track of a mind-numbing $10 trillion with a fat, taxpayer-funded T, trillion. And no one, not even the Department of Defense, knows where it went or on what it was spent. Now, I have to disagree with the author here, Claire Burnish. Motherfuckers know exactly where that money went. Even though audits of all federal agencies became mandatory in 1996, the Pentagon has apparently made itself an exception, and fully 20 years later stands obstinately in never having complied. Because, as defense officials insist, summoning their best impudent adolescents, an audit would take too long and unironically cost too much. Over the last 20 years, the Pentagon has broken every promise to Congress about when an audit would be completed. Raphael D. General, I think, director of Audit the Pentagon, told The Guardian recently. Meanwhile, Congress has more than doubled the Pentagon's budget. Worse, President Trump's newly proposed budget seeks to toss an additional $54 billion into the evidently bottomless pit that is the U.S. military for interventionist policy, more for resource plundering, more for proxy fighting, and, of course, more for jets and drones to drop more bombs suspiciously often on civilians. Maybe because without the mandated audit, the DOD could be purchasing damn near anything at any cost and use or give it to anyone for any reason. Officials with the Government Accountability Office and Office of Inspector General have cataloged egregious financial disparities at the Pentagon for years, yet the Defense Department grouses the cost and energy necessary to perform an audit in compliance with the law makes it untenable. So, you're held to the law, but the politicians, the DOD, the military, the corporations, they're held to a completely different standard. They can break the law with immunity and never ever get into trouble for it. Astonishingly, the Pentagon's own watchdog tactically approves this technically illegal workaround. And the legally gray and yes, literally on the books corrupt practices in tandem to what would incontrovertibly be a most unpleasant audit indeed. Take the following of Madrid examples called plugging, for which Pentagon bookkeepers are not only encouraged to conjure figures from thin air, but in many cases they would be physically and administratively incapable of performing the job without doing so, without ever having faced consequences for this brazen cooking of books. If you cook your books as a private citizen, it's off to the fucking prison for you. Reuters reported the results of an investigation into defense magical numbers crunching well over 3 years ago on November 18th, 2013, detailing the illicit tasks of 15-year employee Linda Woodruff, who spent the last 15 years of her career inserting phony numbers in the U.S. Department of Defense accounts. She has since retired, and others like her act as individual pieces in the amassing chewed gum, only appearing to plug the damning mishandling of funds pilfered from the American people to fund wars overseas for resources in the name of U.S. defense. So, you have to wonder, with this much money missing, when is the next 9/11 going to happen? And what will that event be like? Will the ruling class use EMP weapons and blame Russia or China or Iran or some other fucking nation for it? Probably. There are 3 items of note on this particular example of many. 1. The U.S. Department of Defense considers inventory surpassing a 3-year supply excessive. 2. The stupefying additional 7,000 something front suspensions arrived as ordered during a period of demand reduced by half. 3. Scores of additional items, mostly unaccounted for in inventory, sit untouched and aging in storage, growing not only incapable of being used, but too dangerous to be properly disposed of safely. There's just so much that these people are doing to you and me and our kids that it's a miracle, maybe a miracle, that the American people haven't fucking flipped out yet. What's it going to take for you to get angry about what these scum, these pedophiles, these criminals, these people who ship all the drugs into the country and then ship people off to prisons for using and selling these very same drugs that come off of the military bases? Not to mention other nonviolent so-called crimes. Anyway, never forget, people, until we're not paying taxes anymore, until we're not paying property tax, none of that shit. We are slaves. Anyone who works a job is a slave to the government. You want to know how to make a difference? Number one, don't work for globalist corporations. Number two, exempt yourself from federal taxes and avoid paying taxes as much as possible. The more people that do shit like that, the more the government will suffer. We need to really make things difficult for these people. And this is a March 27th, 2017 article, okay? Just think of how much more that 10 trillion is now. So, anyway, I thought I'd share this with you. I hope everyone has a great day. Till next time, kill the state, live free.